Alright, everybody, welcome back in. Privacy is dead, and it has been longer than you think. Now, I know, it's a bold claim to start out with, and it's a bold claim to back up with only 5 little images here, 2 of which are just little pieces of media to give you a bit more of a visual example, but it's really sad because this is all I really need to do to say you have no privacy, because that is where we've gone. There's been a whole lot of talk recently about protecting our privacy. We've seen companies entirely based around keeping your information private, but as AI agrees with me, in today's digital age, a very small portion of our personal information can be considered truly private. Now, but I have a second claim to make. See, if you can see up here, privacy is dead, and it has been longer than you think. Now, let's sort of look at this. Let's dissect this a little bit. So here we have the phone. Of course, this has been the main issue of privacy since the internet was a thing, basically. It's been a very big source of scams, of information mining. They take everything from you. Nothing you do on this device is private, no matter how much you think it is. And people seem to forget that, because I don't know if you guys have heard this, but I have heard day after day from adults in my life and from myself that everything you do on here, not only is it completely public, but it's not erasable. You can't just delete something and be gone forever. There will always be a way to recover it, even if it is like putting together a piece of shredded paper. Now, why exactly did I put up an old camera, a really old camera on here? And that's where I want to make that argument where privacy has been dead longer than you think. I feel like privacy has been dead since the invention of the camera. Think about it for a second. The camera was the first time you could make irrefutable evidence about somebody doing something and nobody doubted it. There is no doubt the second cameras have been invented. I mean, sure, it's a lot harder to make things public with that. I mean, not only do you have to take the picture, you have to find a way to take that picture. If it's something people do privately, I mean, it's hard to take a picture of them, but it wouldn't be impossible. And spreading it would just be by word of mouth or newspaper, which again, it's a lot slower. But I think that's when privacy either died or began to die. And again, AI agrees with me on this whole thing. A very small portion of our information can be considered truly private. And I even disagree with this. I even disagree that there is even a small portion left of what we can consider private, because you would agree to all these terms of conditions. It doesn't matter if you allow it to use your camera or not, it's going to. Because no matter what you're looking at, there's some loophole in those terms of services. I know right now I'm recording this on a website which is probably using this video for something I couldn't even imagine what they're doing with it. But this, I don't care. I mean, it's made to be put on the internet, but there are so many things that people believe are private, and they have become less and less private to the point where they're even gone. Now, coming back to this phone, this is going to be a symbol for a whole lot of things. I feel like the second death, and if this wasn't the death of privacy, this definitely was whenever there were phone calls. Those are traceable, they're recordable, you have sound. Like with this, sure, you can have a still image of whatever you want, or maybe even a video. But the second a phone call was made, you could have voice evidence. The second a microphone was made, the second voice was recorded and could be recorded, privacy definitely died. But now we bring over here NordVPN, not sponsored, luckily. But there are entire businesses built around keeping your data private. Well, these guys are probably doing just as much data mining as everybody else on the internet, because nothing is sacred here. There is no such thing as privacy on the internet. I can open my phone, and now my phone knows I opened it, and that will forever be saved in some file somewhere for some reason. I mean, you can even see that statistic if you go into your phone. It'll show like time, like pickup amounts. Yeah, it's just recording you every time you unlock your phone. Every minute you spend on the screen, it knows you're there. It knows what you're doing. It probably even has a screen recording of what you're doing. It probably even records you. I mean, that's not a definitive, but it could, and we would be none the wiser. Because all of these things are so scary is because it can be summed up with just this couple of points. It can be summed up by just, terms of service. It can be summed up by the simple fact that privacy is dead, and there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, you can say, oh, I'm not going to agree to those terms of service. Well, then you can't use whatever you're trying to use, and then you're just out that. Every single time we try to circumvent the system, it just becomes more and more of a necessity to fall to this sort of thing. And I have known basically my entire life, nothing I do is private anymore. Because privacy died along with the invention of the camera, if not that, the invention of the microphone, if not that, definitely the invention of the internet. And not only does this happen, businesses are profiting off of it. I mean, even AI agrees with me that nothing is private anymore. Privacy is dead, and it will be forevermore. That has been me, Wonder and Wisdom. This was a bit more of a pessimistic one, wasn't it? I'm not going to say it's the most pessimistic, because I've done some real pessimistic things. But this was one of the more pessimistic. This is one of the more simple things. And again, as I stated before, it's so sad that it's so simple. But I've been Wonder and Wisdom. I do hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you found it at least slightly enlightening. I would suggest going and doing a bit of research on yourself, though, because there's a lot more I could have put up there, let me just say. I didn't have enough ink for it, that's why it's so simplified. But of course, there are so many other points to be talked about. Like, there are entire graphs saying everything's not private anymore. There are entire studies saying you have no privacy. So if you do want to get real, definitive scientific proof, I would suggest going there. But other than that, it's been me. If you like the video, like it. If you want to keep watching this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. And with that, I'll see you down in the comment section.